Restored Republic via GCR up. Judy note, evidently between 2009 and 2018 China, Russia and America worked together to build a city that doesn't exist on any map, that is electronically, thermally invisible and electromagnetically silent. Presently 2 million people live in western China in skyscrapers with transit systems, detectable by Western surveillance, 10 days of darkness on Telegram. It has free energy, no financial system based on debt, no surveillance grid and no pharmaceutical dependency. The city operates on technology that doesn't exist in any public market, magnetic levitation transit with no visible track, buildings with no external power connections, self-sustaining through an energy source that produces no emissions and requires no fuel delivery. It has communication systems that emit no detectable radio frequency. Why? Because when the old world collapses, financial system resets and EBS activates, the transition was expected to create temporary chaos. At that point we need to understand how our new world operates, have every problem worked out before 8 billion people make the switch. We are almost there. The privately owned by Satan-worshipping cabal deep state bankers IRS is gone and their Federal Reserve has been absorbed into the people-owned U.S. Treasury. The once fiat dollar is backed by gold. Big Pharma is being held accountable with massive legal consequences. The oil monopoly is being dismantled. The healthcare system will actually heal using light and sound frequencies, not pills. Constitutional common law is returning to America. A form of that constitutional common law will be set up in all nations participating in the global currency reset. No nation could be at war if they wanted to be part of the new gold/asset-backed global financial system. The Chinese Communist Party has officially collapsed. America and peoples of the world were becoming sovereign, free and governed by we the people. The Great Awakening is here. This was not the new world order that the Satan-worshipping Illuminati deep state cabal had long planned. Deep State King Charles, perhaps clone Charles, recently announced digital ID, a money system of the mark of the beast backed by gold, but the deep state keeps the gold in a total enslavement of the people. EBS tonight, bye-bye deep state, good riddance. Government digital ID is the final chain in their dystopian master plan. Total surveillance, social credit scoring, and locking you out of society if you dare question the narrative. You only represent a barcode with movements tracked, thoughts flagged. The globalist system that wants you owning nothing in their digital prison where they have control over your ability to buy food, travel and even breath. What we thought we knew, but didn't really know and now are supposed to know but don't have a clue. With clones, doubles, made-up movies Hollywood style and Trump's military alliance throwing more popcorn at us, it gets so confusing. The Obama administration used a powerful CIA/NSA surveillance program originally built in 2003 to hunt terrorists overseas, but then used it to spy on American citizens, and later expanded the software to alter election outcomes. Just weeks after Obama took office in 2009, the program called the Hammer, HAMR, was illegally shifted to a secret CIA facility in Fort Washington, Maryland, and turned against American citizens for domestic spying, violating the Constitution. Obama, Joe Biden, John Brennan, and James Clapper were directly involved in the illegal operation. Edward Snowden on Telegram. Tesla free energy, capturing the magnetic forces of the Earth, discovered in the early 1900s by Nikola Tesla and secret reverse-engineered alien technology have been suppressed by the deep state to raise energy prices and keep the people dependent on them for a man-made scarcity of oil and natural gas. 2s. May 19, 2026. Elon Musk just had AI lawsuit dismissed over a technicality. Musk warned the world that Altman and crew are turning OpenAI into a closed, profit-driven, woke-controlled machine, and now the courts let them skate on a paperwork timing issue. EBS, blackout, martial law, lockdowns, C2s. May 19, 2026. The storm is upon U.S. patriots, martial law on Telegram. Within the next 48 hours the 7 trumpets will sound on every phone, tablet, and device on Earth. Temporary martial law is now live, white hats in full control. 10 days of communication darkness incoming. Internet down. Banks offline. But fear not, military Starlink apps already deployed for secure emergency contact. Over 50,000 deep state traitors already loaded into convoys headed straight to Gitmo's new expansion wings. On 2s. May 19, 2026. White Hat sources under President Trump released the updated MedBeds global activation schedule accelerating beyond all expectations. On Tuesday, May 19, 2026. 48-hour blackout allows safe Jazara deployment and medbed integration with gold-backed QFS in 209 nations. Patriots stock essentials as banks transition to QFS. Fiat dies. Starlink secures all. At 4:17 UTC, military tracking channels detected the first escorted convoy entering a secured corridor east of the Strait of Hormuz. The cargo vessels carried classified bullion reserves that overnight had been approved for movement between U.S. Central Command and Allied regional forces. In a blackout, the convoy advanced nearly 90 nautical miles through the silent corridor, while multiple banks across Europe and Asia received compliance alerts, with liquidity set to begin once the reserves officially reached U.S. control. Tuesday, May 26, 2026. Trump Epic Independence event unveils QFS and full medbed integration. Tribunals begin for suppressors. Great Awakening completes in glory. The final sequence activates. 48-hour blackout countdown to Thursday 28th of May. On Wednesday, May 27, 2026, Starlink remote sessions heal the world. GCR Wealth funds projects for generations. Nothing can stop what is coming. On Thursday, May 28, 2026. Final darkness lifts with victory celebrations. Medbeds symbolize the Great Awakening. Trust the plan, God wins. WWG1 as humanity enters the Golden Age. Monday 1st of June or Wednesday June 3, 2026, EBS override ready. Stay home order incoming. Sunday July 19, 2026, the same day as the FIFA World Cup final, Michael Jackson will return, but been in the Victim Witness Protection Program. Global Currency Reset, E2s. May 19, 2026. Bruce, the big call, ZIM holders will likely be the only ones in the currency exchanges who will have to sign an NDA. It could be anywhere from 30-day to 120-day NDA. At your exchange you have to show proof of where you live, a photo ID and organized currency. Official emails to set your exchange appointments have not yet gone out. 17,500 emails went out to people about redemption centers, exchanges etc. and was bogus. They have arrested the person who sent them out. On Wednesday afternoon, May 20, 2026, we will have new rates on redemption center screens. Exchanges for Tier 4B, US, the Internet Group, will begin Thursday and Friday 20, 21, 22nd of May 2026. ZIM holders are sovereigns and will be notified first and will be able to redeem first. It is possible for ZIM holders to receive their notifications to exchange by Wednesday, May 20, 2026. Call centers are AI and will give you the number to call to talk to a person at a redemption center to obtain your appointment. Physical and financial freedom came to Iran today, Tuesday, 19th of May. The Iranian rial is trading on the Forex. G2s. May 19, 2026 update. Phase 2 active/gold convoy/QFS transition. The ships have started moving, Mr. Poole on Telegram. At 4:17 UTC, military tracking channels detected the first escorted convoy entering the secured corridor east of the Strait of Hormuz. No mainstream outlet reported it. But satellite watchers noticed something unusual immediately. Every commercial vessel in the convoy was surrounded by layered naval protection unlike anything seen in civilian shipping operations before. Destroyers ahead. Submarines below. Air surveillance above. This is no ordinary transport mission. Sources connected to Gulf port authorities claim the cargo vessels carrying the classified bullion reserves were finally cleared for movement after an emergency security protocol was approved overnight between U.S. Central Command and Allied regional forces. Then came the blackout. For exactly 11 minutes, multiple maritime tracking systems experienced synchronized signal interruptions across the Hormuz region. Public vessel data disappeared. Radar feeds froze. Independent observers lost visual positioning. When the systems returned online, the convoy had advanced nearly 90 nautical miles. Military analysts are calling it the Silent Corridor. The gold reserves aboard those ships were linked to the activation phase of a parallel settlement infrastructure designed to bypass the collapsing debt-based global banking system. Now the bigger question begins, why would the United States deploy this level of protection for civilian cargo unless the shipment itself was tied to something far beyond oil? This is where the story changes completely. Insiders now claim the gold reserves aboard those ships are linked to the activation phase of a parallel settlement infrastructure designed to bypass the collapsing debt-based global banking system. Not future plans. Not theory. Activation phase. Multiple banking insiders across Europe and Asia have reportedly received restricted compliance alerts connected to liquidity restructuring protocols set to begin once the reserves officially reach U.S. control. Meanwhile, unusual activity is exploding across financial networks, emergency meetings between central banks, sudden liquidity freezes in smaller institutions, quiet transfer delays appearing across international wires. High-volume movement into physical assets and commodities. None of this is random. The old system is under pressure. The transition phase has already started. And while the public is distracted with headlines about oil and regional conflict, something much bigger is happening underneath the surface. The deep state used these samples to build weapons meant to wipe out Russian and Chinese civilizations. This conflict is about national security, not just territory. Tier 4B ISO 20022. J2s. May 19, 2026 Update on Israeli crimes. Mazen Kumsieh. The Israeli crimes against humanity continue. Since declaring ceasefire in Lebanon and the Gaza ghetto/concentration camp, over 1,500 civilians were murdered by the Israeli apartheid regime. The regime's navy also just pirated 22 additional ships, total 41 ships, 10 still sailing, in international waters. Total peace activists kidnapped 337 c. The Western Zionist-dominated media and governments are silent on these continuing crimes against humanity and on political dramatic changes that will impact cost of living in their pockets. Even our own Palestinian supposed leaders and media say and do very little, if not outright shield people from facts. The same Western governments that supported genocide pressured the Palestinian Authority to have elections, but on Israeli terms. You will not be allowed to run for elections if you support full equality, or a secular democratic state. Only if you support the Oslo surrender agreements and perhaps a fictional two-state, which Israel does not accept, will you be allowed to run. These same governments also formally say they are against corruption, but know clearly that corruption runs deep in their own circle, in the apartheid system, and in the existing Palestinian leadership and body politics. I have been compiling a book on the subject to be published after I am gone. Yet, what is remarkable is the proliferation of good people willing to act on their conviction. From the Samud flotilla to hundreds of millions of people of good faith who took to the streets to commemorate the ongoing Nakba, Palestine will live. In other good news, the ICC prosecutor seeks warrants for Ben-Gvir, Smotrich and other Israeli officials. Israeli military outposts in Iraqi desert exposed. Chinese and Russian and other BRICS leaders have already built a new world order to replace the horrific order led by U.S. imperialism, itself led by the Zionist lobbies. Mazen Kumsieh, a Bedouin in cyberspace, a villager at home. Professor, founder, and volunteer, Director, Palestine Museum of Natural History, Palestine Institute of Biodiversity and Sustainability, Bethlehem University, Occupied Palestine. K2s. May 19, 2026, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE, were the nations Trump visited May 13 to 16, 2025, and he was treated like a king, Karen Levitt on Telegram. A month later, June 21 to 22, 2025, Trump unleashed Midnight Hammer on Iran. Now Trump says these nations are helping to finalize the deal. Decisions have already been made behind closed doors. The Middle East, and most of the Muslim world, all sided with Trump, and agreed the radical Shia regime in Iran had to go, and under no circumstances can they obtain a nuclear weapon. Trump had the entire board secure before any kinetic operations began. The rest of the world turned on the illegitimate regime in Iran, and our military is the only force on earth capable of doing what needed to be done. I'll save the children twos. May 19, 2026, breaking FBI alert. Operation Restore Justice and Operation Grey Skull unleash massive nationwide war against child predators. You harm our children, we will hunt you down twos. M2s. May 19, 2026 Holy crap. Representative Tim Burchett just dropped straight fire. They sell kids to get our ped. People say, you don't want to hang these people. The hell I don't. Bring them out to the farm, and we'll take care of them. I am not kidding you. The final red pill on Telegram. We've got to start taking this stuff serious in this country, folks. The way the left and I guess we all are guilty of it. We try to sanitize it so it doesn't affect our psyche or our conscience, but the stuff's going on right now. It's going on in your community. We need to pay attention and we need to start enforcing our dadgum laws and quit electing these gutless wimps and, And putting these judges in that let these people walk and quit with all the being able to get out of these things and they get probation and all this other stuff. All they're going to do is offend again. And the people that are buying these kids to RP are just as guilty or worse than the others. End them all. That's what we've got to do. What we think we know as of Wednesday, May 20, 2026:2. May 19, 2026 Fox News on fraudulent elections, Dominion voting systems was rejected 3x by data communications experts from the Texas Secretary of State and Attorney General's office for failing to meet basic security standards. Ask yourself why some states would still use Dominion after other states rejected it and clearly pointed out its security flaws and backdoors. Add the fact that Dominion is connected to Soros, China, Serbia, Venezuela, and the Clinton Foundation, and you have a recipe for fraud. 2s. May 19, 2026 GMO ticks and mosquitoes have been caught on video raining down from the sky across the United States. Government whistleblowers, top scientists and others are now documenting the fact that this is part of a larger, Bill Gates-backed human engineering program. Bottom line, this constitutes a violation of medical informed consent under the Nuremberg Code and is punishable by death. Gitmo TV on Telegram. 2s. May 19, 2026 We conclude that the Dominion voting system is intentionally and purposefully designed with inherent errors to create systemic fraud and influence election results. Allied Security Dominion Audit, The Schiff on Telegram. 2s. May 19, 2026, Bombshell, Ron DeSantis declares war on rich snowbirds, Airbnb empires and foreign luxury buyers. Property tax relief is for Floridians, May 19, 2026. 2s. May 19, 2026, breaking special report, Trump's real China victory is triggering global panic, Xi opens the secret garden, Putin stands next, Carney's empire collapses, and London is screaming. 2s. May 19, 2026, breaking intel drop, Trump moves to pardon Edward Snowden. The whistleblower who exposed the deep state may finally come home. 2s. May 19, 2026, 1942 NWO map exposed. The map shows Greenland, Mexico, and Canada as part of the United States of America. 2s. May 19, 2026 breaking, Julian Assange just dropped the ultimate bomb. Trump's UFO files are only the beginning. Julian Assange on Telegram. Shocking truth exposed. While Trump orders the Pentagon to release alien files that look suspiciously edited. WikiLeaks has the real unredacted documents that prove the government has been hiding extraterrestrial contact for decades. What Assange knows will destroy everything you thought about 2026 politics, the real reason behind the skyrocketing gas prices and inflation. Not just energy issues, it's tied to secret reverse-engineered alien tech being suppressed by the deep state to keep you broke and dependent. Trump's transparency on UFOs. A controlled distraction while the elite panic over what WikiLeaks is about to leak next, full communications with non-human intelligence that could flip the midterms upside down. Hidden pacts, crashed crafts, and cover-ups involving both parties that make the old Epstein lists look like child's play. Julian Assange didn't risk everything just to hand you redacted photos. He has the receipts. The names. The alien agenda that's been running Washington for 70+ years. P2s. May 19, 2026 Rothschild. 2 weeks ago, French financial police entered the Paris offices of Edmond de Rothschild Bank. They carried out a full search. Servers seized. Files removed. Staff questioned. The reason, Jeffrey Epstein, Mr. Poole final chapter on Telegram. The Epstein files released by the DOJ contain 67,000 mentions of Paris. A $3 million apartment on Avenue Foch. A network of accounts. Wire transfers to names that were never supposed to surface. Ariane de Rothschild, chairwoman of the bank, is now directly linked to $25 million in transactions flagged by investigators. The Wall Street Journal ran the headline last month, "The Rothschild Dynasty Survived Wars and Crises. Will the Epstein Files Tear IT Apart?" That's not a conspiracy blog. That's the Wall Street Journal. France and Norway launched a joint investigation. A UN diplomat has been named. 10 new victims came forward in the last 2 weeks alone. This family has controlled European banking for over 200 years. They financed wars. They owned central banks. They moved governments like chess pieces. They were untouchable. They survived Napoleon. They survived 2 world wars. They survived every revolution in Europe for 2 centuries. They will not survive this. The files are out. The servers are seized. The victims are talking. And this is only France. Wait until you see what's in the London files. Q2s. May 19, 2026. China just revealed a city that doesn't exist on any map. Population, 2 million. 10 days of darkness on Telegram. Satellite imagery from May 1 shows a fully operational metropolis in western China, 140 kilometers from the nearest known settlement. Skyscrapers. Transit systems, all functional. All populated. It doesn't appear on any map. China didn't build it alone. The architectural signatures match designs found in Russian classified patents and American DoD research from the 1990s. 3 nations. 1 project. Hidden in plain sight in a desert that satellites were programmed to show as empty. Why? Because when the old world collapses, when the financial system resets, when the EBS activates, when the transition creates temporary chaos, someone needs to already be living in the new world. Testing it. Proving it works. Working out every problem before 8 billion people make the switch. Project isn't a Chinese military base. It's a prototype. A functioning model of post-reset civilization. Free energy. No financial system based on debt. No surveillance grid. No pharmaceutical dependency. Intelligence sources confirm it was built between 2009 and 2018. 9 years of construction. 2 million residents relocated. An entire civilization assembled in secret while the world watched China build islands in the South China Sea as a distraction. The city operates on technology that doesn't exist in any public market. Magnetic levitation transit with no visible track. Buildings with no external power connections, self-sustaining through an energy source that produces no emissions and requires no fuel delivery. Communication systems that emit no detectable radio frequency. A city that is electronically invisible. Thermally invisible. Electromagnetically silent. 2 million people living in a place that produces no signal detectable by Western surveillance. The 4-second broadcast wasn't an accident. It was a signal. To the people watching. To the alliance. To the world. The new world isn't being planned. It's already built. It's already populated. It's already working. You're not waiting for the future. The future has been running for 8 years. You just weren't invited yet. That invitation is coming. Code. Mandate Heaven/Ghost City, 2M population/prototype live. R2s. May 19, 2026. Fox News. Holy crap. The White House Fraud Task Force just found that 400 businesses receiving billions in federal grants may be fraudulent, because the Democrats turned off fraud protections. The firms didn't even file an address. And they got $6B+. We found that 400 businesses with contracts worth $6 billion, originally allocated by the Biden administration, didn't even file physical addresses at their businesses. That's a statutory requirement. You're not supposed to be able to get any money from the United States government unless you put down a physical mailing address, and they just didn't do it. Andrew Ferguson, WH Anti-Fraud Task Force Vice Chair, we demand a refund and prosecutions of the politicians who allowed it. Voter fraud. Monday, May 18, 2026, we are going to find out that President Trump actually won many of the states he lost in 2020, Once ballots in the 2020 election are counted that remain uncertifiable, it should show that Trump won Arizona, Georgia, Penn, Wisconsin, Mississippi, and Nevada, and likely a lot more. This massive bluff was foisted onto the country for 6+ years, including the 4 years Biden was in the White House, was because a coordinated hidden shadow election network spanning several states entered into a criminal conspiracy to pretend they had legally certified millions of ballots that were uncertifiable according to state and federal election laws. The storm is here on Telegram. 2s. May 19, 2026, holy crap. Californian election fraudster pleads guilty in Skid Row signature scheme. A California woman exposed in an investigation tied to ballot petition fraud has pleaded guilty after allegedly collecting voter registrations and signatures from homeless individuals in Skid Row using false addresses and incentives such as cash, cigarettes, and phone cards. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon said the conduct highlights how easily voter rolls can be manipulated under California law, noting that individuals registered with fake addresses could still receive ballots for state and federal elections. The scheme reportedly involved using stacks of registration forms and directing individuals to sign petitions under improper conditions, raising concerns about election integrity and enforcement gaps. A state of power on Telegram. 2s. May 19, 2026 Voter fraud. Michigan. All the adjudication logs in the Michigan 2020 election were missing, because of a massive 68.05% error rate in Antrim County's tabulation logs, versus the federal maximum allowed of 0.0008%. They literally just made as many ballots as they needed to steal the 2020 election from Trump and then deleted the adjudication logs, security logs, and event logs, and zeroed out results to prove the votes. In Central Lake Township alone, 81.96% of ballots, 1,222 out of 1,491, were rejected and sent for adjudication. He even tried to warn the government before the 2020 election and CISA ignored him. The Schiff on Telegram. T2s. May 19, 2026 The Obama administration used a powerful CIA/NSA surveillance program originally built in 2003 to hunt terrorists overseas, but then used it to spy on American citizens, and later expanded the software to alter election outcomes. Edward Snowden on Telegram. Just weeks after Obama took office in 2009, the program called the Hammer, HAMR, was illegally shifted to a secret CIA facility in Fort Washington, Maryland, and turned against American citizens for domestic spying, violating the Constitution. Obama, Joe Biden, John Brennan, and James Clapper were directly involved in the illegal operation. Scorecard software was later added, which is a vote manipulation tool installed on the Hammer system to intercept election data and flip 3% of votes in real time during transmission from voting machines/tabulators. Just another form of election manipulation on top of many others. The system was deployed in the 2012 election and Democratic primaries, and possibly in the 2016 and 2020 election as well. The most interesting part is that electronic vote manipulation goes back to the early 2000s. In October 2000, while working as a computer programmer at Yang Enterprises in Oviedo, Florida, computer programmer Clinton Eugene Curtis was directly approached by Tom Feeney, then Speaker of the Florida House of Representatives and the company's lobbyist, along with the company's corporate attorney, to create a prototype program capable of rigging elections. The software was designed to secretly flip votes 51 to 49 in favor of any chosen candidate or race without being noticed by election officials. Curtis states the program would be completely undetectable by county boards of elections unless someone examined the actual source code or had a verifiable paper trail/receipt to compare against the electronic totals. When Curtis initially provided a report on how to detect and prevent such fraud, including mandatory paper trails and source code reviews, the company owner, Mrs. Yang, rejected it and instructed him to hide the fraud in the source code instead. She reportedly told him it was needed to control the vote in South Florida. Curtis confirms he wrote the prototype as requested but left the company shortly afterward. He testified that such vote rigging software is simple to create, hundreds of lines of code at most, and could be inserted into central tabulators or voting systems. During his court testimony on this very program and the fraud in Ohio's 2004 election, based on significant discrepancies between exit polling data and official results in the 2004 Ohio presidential election, plus the known availability of rigging software and lack of protective measures, Curtis stated under oath that the 2004 Ohio election was likely hacked as well. This was just the early days of election rigging software and programs. Obama and his administration continued with their own endeavors as technology progressed, especially with Smartmatic and the use of wireless internet and remote access from anywhere in the world. This has been going on long enough. It's time to end any and all of these election rigging practices and programs and bring back real election integrity. If we don't fix our elections, we will lose this country, and it all starts with holding these people accountable. U2s. May 19, 2026 It took 50 years to expose the Kennedy assassination, but the truth is finally out. The Warren Commission lied. The government covered it up. EBS Live on Telegram. JFK's assassination was not the act of a lone gunman, it was a full-blown military intelligence coup. Screw you, LBJ. I always smelled a rat, and you were the big one. Declassified documents released January 30, 2025, expose what many of us have long suspected. JFK was murdered by the very system he tried to dismantle. He challenged the Federal Reserve, the CIA, and the shadow elite. He signed Executive Order 11,110 to return to sound money. Within months, cover-ups, and silencing of truth. The files reveal CIA death squads, Operation Execute, a JFK hit memo from the Federal Reserve, and names like E. Howard Hunt, David Atlee Phillips, and even George H.W. Bush linked to that dark day in Dallas. Even more chilling, JFK knew they were coming for him. A newly surfaced audio tape confirms it. "They'll come for me soon. But if I fall, let history know I tried to warn them." Remind you of anyone? The parallels to President Donald J. Trump are right in front of us. Two men, decades apart, both targeted by the same deep state machine. Both tried to return power to the people. Both exposed the lies of the industrial and financial slavery system. And both paid, or are paying, the price for defying the system. JFK's death was the day America lost its innocence. But January 30, 2025, was the day the veil was finally lifted. History isn't just repeating, it's screaming at us. The question is, are we listening now? The Lloyd Brunson Supreme Court case has become one of the most talked about constitutional challenges in America First and pro-Constitution circles. The lawsuit centers around the certification of the 2020 presidential election and the actions of hundreds of elected officials who allegedly failed to uphold their oath to defend the Constitution. What makes the Brunson case extraordinary is not only its political implications, but the path it took to reach the nation's highest court. The Brunson brothers pursued the case pro se, meaning without attorneys, navigating one of the most complex legal systems in the world largely on their own. According to Brunson, the case initially faced major resistance inside the federal court system, including repeated procedural obstacles and attempts to block filings. In response, the Brunsons launched legal action against the Federal Court of Utah and the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals themselves, forcing the issue further into the legal spotlight. The case ultimately reached the Supreme Court through Rule 11, a rare constitutional mechanism allowing the court to bypass standard appellate procedures when a matter is considered to carry exceptional national importance. Brunson believes this may be one of the only personal damage claims against government officials ever brought to SCOTUS through Rule 11 in American history. The case names 387 defendants including Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Mike Pence and hundreds of members of Congress. According to Brunson, approximately 145 members of Congress, led by Senator Ted Cruz, requested a 10-day delay to investigate allegations of election irregularities before the electoral vote certification proceeded. The lawsuit argues that refusing to investigate those concerns before certifying the election represented a violation of the constitutional oath of office sworn by federal officials. For Brunson and his supporters, this is not merely a political disagreement. It is a constitutional crisis. This case represents far more than one election cycle. It represents a battle over constitutional accountability, government power, election integrity and whether public officials remain bound by the Constitution itself. Lloyd Brunson's fight has become part legal battle, part constitutional movement, and part cultural awakening for Americans demanding greater transparency from their government. For Brunson and his supporters, the mission is simple: restore accountability, restore constitutional order, restore the promise that no public official stands above the law. And in today's America, that message is resonating with millions of people who believe the country is standing at a historic crossroads. Bombshell Special Report: A different battle has begun. Lloyd Brunson's explosive constitutional showdown could rock Washington and expose 387 members of Congress. Judy note: if the Supreme Court rules in favor of Brunson, it automatically dissolves the entire U.S. administration and all of Congress, both on the state and federal levels, leaving nothing but martial law to rule until new and fair elections can be held. This demand by citizens for more transparency was made even more important in the present CIA mind control program that has been seeping U.S. taxpayer dollars in a CIA black budget accountable to no one but the cabal since the end of World War II, taxpayer monies used to mind control the people. Project Artichoke formed the initial blueprint for these civilian-targeted operations. The program later became known as MKUltra. As of Monday, May 18, 2026, 85% of the CIA MKUltra mind control programming files had been destroyed by the CIA. The 15% that weren't destroyed were supposed to be released per an executive order by Trump. But last week the CIA took those files back from the Department of Justice. If this 15% was so bad that they defied a POTUS order, imagine how bad the other 85% was. Wars and rumors of wars. Monday, May 18, 2026, Pakistan has deployed 8,000 troops to Saudi Arabia, JF-17 jets, drones, and an HQ-9 air defense system during the Iran war, Reuters. Monday, May 18, 2026, breaking special report, Zelensky's press secretary explodes the narrative, cocaine claims, secret peace talks, dictatorship allegations, and the war machine that refuses to stop. Monday, May 18, 2026, President Trump has called off tomorrow's planned attack on Iran at the request of the leaders of United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, who believe a deal can be negotiated. He has also instructed the Department of War to be ready for the next round of strikes if a deal is not reached. QAnon evidence on Telegram. Trump has demanded immediate peace negotiations to end the Ukraine-Russia war. In reality, it's a declaration of war on the deep state. Secret talks between Ukrainian generals and Russia hint at a peace deal already made that bypasses NATO entirely. While Zelensky is a puppet of the deep state's push for continuous wars, Russia's position has always been clear: recognition of annexed territories, Ukraine's neutrality, and the dismantling of U.S.-funded bioweapon labs exposed earlier this year. This conflict was a proxy war crafted by globalists, using Zelensky as a puppet and Putin as a scapegoat to advance their deep state agenda: economic collapse through inflation, energy crises and food shortages. Digital IDs and biometric tracking systems secure their control over the population. The staggering death toll of war is no accident, while leading to destabilization, depopulation, and total control, a cornerstone of the elite's plan to reset the world. The longer it continued, the more chaos they unleashed. What we thought we knew, but didn't really know and now are supposed to know but don't have a clue. With clones, doubles, made-up movies Hollywood style and Trump's military alliance throwing more popcorn at us, it gets so confusing. President Trump declared Sunday, May 17, 2026, the nation's 250th birthday, a national day of prayer to rededicate America as one nation under God. As of that same Sunday, May 17, 2026, the privately owned by foreign bankers Federal Reserve of 1913 was dead, as was the IRS. With Powell out, Warsh in and the U.S. Treasury taking control of U.S. taxpayer dollars, the markets were bracing for a world economic reset: 0% income tax, 0% property tax, 0% gains tax, through the global currency reset to gold/asset-backed currency, which was being released right now. U.S. taxpayer monies will be collected and dispersed under the states and new gold-backed U.S. Treasury via tax on buying new items only, none on medicine, groceries or housing. Australian mechanical engineer, John Christie, and his electrician friend, Lou Britz, worked hard through the 90s to come up with their own version of the magnetic generator. In 2001, they launched it to the public as the Lou-Tech 1000, a device capable of generating 24 kilowatts of electricity, enough to power a few houses. Monday, May 18, 2026, Fox News. The DOJ has just obtained evidence that the 2020 election was rigged against Trump, and investigations were ongoing. See possible timing on Monday, May 18, 2026, Zim redemptions and Jazara funds available. On Tuesday, May 19, 2026, full quantum financial system goes live, locking down corruption forever. Debt jubilees frees humanity. On Wednesday, May 20, 2026, Trump declares republic restored. Global arrests of elites and pedophiles intensify under martial law as the new era of freedom and health dawns. On Friday, May 22, 2026, the gold/asset-backed currencies of 209 nations in the quantum financial system rebirths from the old fiat global financial system. Trump unveils plans for total independence from globalists. Tuesday, May 26, 2026, the final sequence activates, 48-hour blackout countdown to Thursday 28th of May. EBS, blackout, martial law, lockdowns, Monday, May 18, 2026, 72 hours, 24 hours equals now. The final countdown has begun. Emergency broadcast system on Telegram. Starlink has executed total control of global communication satellites. All deep state backdoors have been severed. The EBS primary signal is live and locked, awaiting a final white hat go code. Last night's raids were historic. Multiple high-value targets extraction complete. Certain names you've heard for decades are no longer walking free. Their assets are frozen. Their networks are dead. The quantum financial system is now the only operational financial system on the planet. Legacy banks are ghosts, empty shells with no power. Humanitarian and redemption funds were moving through secured military channels as we speak. The 10 days of darkness has officially started. This is the controlled silence before the greatest truth reveal in history. Every communication device on the planet will go dark. Every screen will show one thing when it returns. What will happen when a blackout will trigger the biggest unprecedented event, the global martial law, Web 3.0 ISO 20022 on Telegram. 1. The military will declare a global martial law. 2. They'll make sure people get food. 3. Planes and trains will be grounded to cut off the cabal's reach. 4. Power will briefly flicker as the world shifts to Tesla-free energy. 5. Military tribunals and confessions will be broadcast for 10 sessions, 8 hours each. 6. Then the internet will shut down for 10 days of communication blackout. Monday, May 18, 2026 shutdown masks the final transfer, Tier 4B ISO 20022 on Telegram. While the public thinks the government is on hold, high-security operations are moving at full speed. Unmarked convoys leaving federal complexes at night, carrying sealed containers and classified files to underground military facilities. Treasury insiders report massive data migrations from legacy bank servers into QFS nodes. Accounts being reconciled and hidden assets tagged for public release under Nizara/Jazara. IRS central databases offline. Teams inside buildings cataloging evidence of tax fraud, black budgets and secret slush funds. Every dollar will be tracked and exposed. In several states, federal courtrooms dark but not empty. Night sessions held under military oversight. Sealed indictments being unsealed and resealed ahead of mass disclosure. QFS test payments already hitting foreign partner banks under shutdown cover. This is not a drill, the transition has begun quietly. The shutdown is the curtain. Behind it, the old system is being gutted and the new one is already humming. What the world will see next will break the illusion forever. Global currency reset. The QFS went live on May 8 in 209 countries. Each sovereign citizen is issued a quantum wallet that is preloaded with their birthright value, which is derived from your birth certificate bond, your lifetime tax contributions and the interest stolen from you since 1971, Mr. Pool on Telegram. On Friday, May 15, 2026 Tier 4B notifications started at redemption centers established in 12 states. Monday, May 18, 2026, Zim redemptions and Jazara funds available. Behind the scenes, a parallel global financial system is believed to be operating, fully aligned with ISO 20022, synchronizing in real time with the legacy framework. Every transaction mirrored. Every asset reconciled. Every inconsistency corrected. If a new financial world is already being recorded on a compliant, structured ledger, then Tier 4B was never waiting to start. It has been building quietly, long before public access was allowed. Tier 4B ISO 20022 on Telegram. On May 19, 2026, full quantum financial system goes live, locking down corruption forever. Debt jubilees freeze humanity. The 800 numbers to set exchange and redemption appointments were waiting for one sign, Trump walking into Fort Knox on camera and opening the 20-ton door. When he opens it, the EBS fires, locking the QFS. When the QFS locks your debt disappears. When your debt is gone, you are liberated. Unlawful interest on loans, credit cards, $100,000 $450,000 to the average American, was being encoded into your QFS ledger as we speak. Friday, May 22, 2026, the audit is complete. Results are classified. What they discovered changes everything, Mr. Pool on Telegram. On Monday, May 18, 2026 Trump sat with Cheryl Atkinson and said, "I want to go to Fort Knox. I want to see if there's gold in there." Then he said, "They steal a lot." He wasn't guessing. He was telling you that. 147.3 ounces, that is what is supposed to be there. Real value at $4,700 an ounce, $692 billion. But the audit team that came in on March 14 under Executive Order 14,271 found more. Nowhere on any ledger. Gold repatriated from the Vatican Bank. From the Bank of England. Basel. Ref. Knox Audit 2026-0314 Sigma. This is the gold that backs your new currency. The QFS went live on May 8 in 209 countries. Each sovereign citizen is issued a quantum wallet that is preloaded with their birthright value, which is derived from your birth certificate bond, your lifetime tax contributions and the interest stolen from you since 1971. Running. Article 21 of Jazara, Debt Nullification. The algorithm is computing every mortgage, every student loan, every credit card charge with unlawful compound interest. $100,000 $450,000 to the average American. That number is being encoded into your QFS ledger as we speak. Trump said I want to see the gold because he wants you to ask why. The answer, the gold is there, and $43 trillion more, and it is yours. Dear 4B notifications started 72 hours ago at redemption centers established in 12 states. Stacked 800 numbers were waiting for one sign, Trump walking into Fort Knox on camera and opening the 20-ton door. When he opens it, the EBS fires. The EBS fires, locking the QFS. When the QFS locks your debt disappears. When your debt is gone, you are liberated. They kept you a slave for 53 years. Every dollar you owed was a lie. Every interest payment was theft. The guy who said they steal a lot is about to prove it live on television. Trump stood before the United Nations on September 23 and said what no president has ever said: any system that results in the mass trafficking of children is inherently evil. His administration has now rescued more than 60,000 of those children. Reunited 30,000 with their families. Mothers opening doors with tears in their eyes, seeing sons and daughters they thought they'd never see again. 60,000 found. 30,000 home. Where are the other 240,000? And Monday, May 18, 2026 CNBC, $2 billion Sinaloa cartel trucking empire crushed, 273 arrests, 52 tons of meth and 250 trucks seized in nationwide dawn raid. In a stunning early morning blitz across 12 states, federal agents dismantled Southwest Logistics, a trusted trucking giant used by Walmart and Costco, exposing how the Sinaloa cartel had hijacked America's supply chains for years. Agents intercepted 250 trucks equipped with hidden compartments, seizing 52 tons of methamphetamine cleverly concealed beneath produce crates and inside trailer walls. The operation arrested 273 suspects, including executives, mechanics, and complicit drivers. Cross-country drug pipeline. What looked like normal American logistics was actually a sophisticated cartel operation that moved tons of poison nationwide while maintaining a flawless public safety record as cover. They weaponized everyday trucking to flood the country with meth. Federal agents just took the highways back. 273 arrests. 52 tons of meth off the roads. A $2 billion criminal empire shattered. The largest cartel infiltration of U.S. logistics ever uncovered is now in ruins. The road of death just got shut down, hard. Oh, Monday, May 18, 2026 Wells Fargo is turning the air you breathe into a nanobot surveillance prison to own your body and money. Patented smart dust will make every breath a biometric payment slave scan. US 113546666B1, they call it smart dust. JFK awakening on Telegram. Tiny airborne MEMS devices. Microscopic sensors smaller than a grain of sand. These motes get released into the air around you. They swarm like invisible demons. They read your biometrics in real time. Heart rate. Body temperature. Voice patterns. Motion signatures. Facial images. Even your electromagnetic field. All captured while you stand there thinking you are just buying coffee. These particles network together in midair. They form a temporary surveillance cloud around your body. They generate a unique authentication key from your living biology. Then they beam it back to approve your payment. Match the profile. Payment approved. Do not match. You get flagged as a threat. This is not science fiction. One of America's biggest banks patented it. Granted June 7, 2022. Originally a military battlefield spying tool. Now deployed for everyday banking convenience. Breathe it in at the ATM. Inhale it at the store. It floats in the shared air around everyone. Invisible. Deniable. Always watching. Always verifying. Always reporting back. They filed this back in 2016. While the public was distracted with apps and digital wallets. The banks were building the ultimate control system. Payment equals total biometric surrender. Next time your transaction goes through seamlessly, ask yourself, how many of these smart dust particles just mapped your vitals and fed your data into the grid? Israel is last. Monday, May 18, 2026 Thomas Massie says his election will decide whether Israel can continue buying off future American politicians. Israel is now expected to spend nearly $20 million to destroy Massey politically after he exposed the Epstein files. Massey warns that Israel has become one of the biggest threats to American politics and says the influence must be stopped immediately. They get our tax dollars. Q election fraud, Monday, May 18, 2026 Arizona. After the 2020 Arizona election, Republicans were granted access to examine duplicate ballots and found that 2% off all ballots examined were switched from Trump to Biden or just taken away from Trump altogether for no reason. The Biden electors then called a special emergency hearing with the judge in an attempt to only have their attorneys examine the ballots and be kept secret from the public. This ridiculous request tells you everything you need to know. The 2020 election was stolen. Our Monday, May 18, 2026 Jovan Pulitzer drops all the data and evidence of foreign election interference in the 2020 election, Edward Snowden on Telegram. 65 foreign countries participated in attacking 7 key states and over 600 county polling locations. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, systematically gained control over the U.S. election system. Described as a national security emergency, the CCP leveraged financial, non-governmental, and foreign allies, including Venezuela, to acquire influence and control over U.S. voting infrastructure in at least 28 states. Electronic voting machines were compromised and cannot be trusted to provide an accurate vote count. Millions of invalid ballots were inserted into the election. Voting irregularities and fraud occurred in 8 states: Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. Media reported hand counts are not real hand counts and are easily subverted. Removing the invalid ballots and forensically auditing the paper ballots would change the certified 2020 election outcomes at all levels: president, senators, congressional representatives. The only way to determine the real winners and restore confidence is a forensic audit of the paper ballots, the public's property, required to be held for 22 months. Pulitzer worked with Colonel Phil Waldron's team on this vetted data. The full report was released in January 2021 and is more than enough evidence to understand that our elections are compromised and that the 2020 election was stolen. Monday, May 18, 2026 John Christie Electric Generator, generates 24 kilowatts of free electricity, emergency broadcast system on Telegram. The John Christie Electric Generator was shown to the world in 2001, a device capable of generating a full 24 kilowatts of electricity. In this article, I will tell you about John Christie, the inventor, and how he and his friend, Lou Britz, came up with the generator. I will also explain to you how free electricity works and how you too can generate your own electricity at home too. John Christie and Lou Britz, Australian mechanical engineer, John Christie, and his electrician friend, Lou Britz, worked hard through the 90s to come up with their own version of the magnetic generator. In 2001, they launched it to the public as the Lou-Tech 1000, a device capable of generating 24 kilowatts of electricity, enough to power a few houses. The main claim to fame at the time was that the Lou-Tech 1000 was the first free energy machine to be developed to commercial stage anywhere in the world. This was perhaps an exaggeration as, although the device worked, it was far from being full tested and developed to the point where you could buy one off the shelf in the marketplace. How does free energy work? Part of the problem lies in the name. Free energy sounds almost impossible to believe. I prefer to call this concept zero point as it is known in physics. Zero point is an area of physics that has been studied for over 100 years. Nikola Tesla, the man who is called by some the grandfather of electricity, dedicated half of his life to studying zero point. He even published his work and it met with great approval. Unfortunately, his legacy in this area did not live on after his death due to existing commercial interests using their power to bury it. Zero point speaks of obtaining energy without fuel, from a source that is not widely acknowledged in conventional physics. It does this via the use of strategically placed magnets. Fast forward around a century later and there has been a resurgence of interest in this area, especially in the last year or two. While Christie and Britz may have been a little premature with their commercial launch, real working generators are now being built by enthusiasts in their garages, right across the world, numbering somewhere in the tens of thousands and possibly more. How can you generate your own electricity? The average home does not need 24 kilowatts. In fact, a basic motor is easily constructed for next to nothing that can generate a good 7 kilowatts of power, which is more than enough for most households. The basic electric generator is a rotor, some magnets and some electrical wiring. John Christie and Lou Britz made their own version, but I suggest you keep things very simple. In fact, I strongly recommend that you spend a nominal amount of around $50 on a good set of plans which will give you diagrams and step-by-step instructions on building your magnetic motor generator. Or you can try to do it for free, which will see you spending several months on your motor, all the while still paying your monthly bill to the power company.
So we had an amazing, turnaround, I guess, in GOP. It's all the rhinos got slaughtered. So that's really a good thing. And we have Mel Carmine here. He's going to be talking with us as well. Mel, how's everything going on your end? All the way out there?
Yeah, we are exploding. The movie Dear Mr. President, we actually launched it at the right time. This time we didn't get overshadowed by Charlie Kirk shooting like the first one, right? It's literally just blowing up. Thanks to you guys. I owe a great deal of gratitude to you and Tracy and people that will have me on the show to understand the importance of the movie and to understand that everybody out there is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Meanwhile, we're slaving, and my wife was able to pay bills from the back of my Social Security number, and all of a sudden they want their money back. Wait a minute, is that my money or crazy, absolutely crazy,
amazing, wow,
yeah. So we know that we're being bamboozled in so many ways, Mike. It's just that for me, when I got introduced to this years ago, I'd never understood it. I'm as dumb as they come, right? And so when I did understand it, I said, okay, now I'm going to make a movie and make it really, really dumbed down so that everybody can understand it. You have no idea the amount of people calling me saying, Mel, I understand the movie for the first time. I understand the concept. I understand what they're doing to us. I never was able to understand. I thought I was the only one, right? But now it's really growing a tremendous amount of legs.
Yeah. Now there was a lot of people, it might have been the same time frame, that were backdooring some of those institutions that were like cheat codes and so forth that people had, and they're like, well, let me try it. So they went in. I know people that actually went in and they used it, and they talked to somebody. It's like, I want to pay this bill off, and they're like, okay, and they paid off all these bills, and I mean, credit cards, all kind of crazy stuff, and then they stopped and said, well, we don't push it too far. And then they closed that door. And they're like, dang it, I should have gone all the way. I should have done all my bills, everything. So,
right. Well, my wife paid off $2,389. My friend Bill in Boca Raton. This is a team of 8 people. They went in all at the same time.
Yeah.
My friend Bill in Boca Raton paid like $8,200. My friend Molly paid off a old bill, $33,000 credit card bill, and everybody got a receipt back saying it's successful. And 4 days later, they want their money back. But I heard now that if you do it and you push the envelope more than once, you get a knock on the door after like the 3rd, 4th time. If you keep being persistent, you get a knock at the door by the FBI, which stands for Forever Bother Italians, right? So yeah. So it's ridiculous. But I just talked to Senator Fincham. I said, do you think that we can get some of that money back? As a matter of fact, his show goes live tonight. Nice. Yeah, and he said yes. I believe we're going to get a lot of that money back, maybe all of it.
Well, I know that when I looked at mine, I had hundreds of millions of bonds. So I'm like, yeah, I'd like to get a little piece of that. So.
Well, we all drive with this driver's license and registration and all of this stuff, marriage license, divorce license. Then you get remarried. You want to go fishing, you're going to need a fishing license. You want to go hunting, you need a hunting license. You get a speeding ticket, a parking ticket. You go through the stop sign ticket. All of this stuff that you sign for gets that your Social Security number and the corporation that they set up in your name with the all caps names. Your Social Security number is your bond number. That's the number that's being traded on the stock exchange. And they're making compound interest on top of compound, on top of compound. By the time you get to be in high school, you're worth $182 million. And you don't know it.
Wow.
Right? So it is crazy what they're doing. Now, I hate to say it, but a lot of the cops out there that know how the game is played, they know what they're doing. They know that this is illegal. You're part of a felony. And that means if you know about it, you are complicit in crime.
Yeah.
Right? So the other half don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, like, are we the only guys that have internet, Mike?
No, because I shared that information. It was a long time ago. It was like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was, you put in, I think you're right. You put in, there was a code, and you put in your social security number, and then it would show you your bonds.
Right.
And most of my bonds were in the UK, but other people had bonds. Like a lot of the ladies, I don't know why, but a lot of the ladies that looked at it, their bonds were in China.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we're all registered in the Vatican. We think, we celebrate 4th of July. We think we're free. We're not free. Your tax dollars, your hard-earned, supposedly, quote unquote, from that illegal corporation that's registered down there in Puerto Rico. I think they're called the IRS. Okay. They just attach it to a bunch of judges with black robes and the guys with guns, and they have jail cells that they put you in if you don't comply with their bullshit law that they made up. It's a corporation, for crying out loud. The IRS is as federal as the Federal Express. It's not part of the United States government. It is a thug mafia organization. It was registered in Puerto Rico in 1946. Go look it up. Right? Mm-hmm. And so here we are. We're working our asses off for what? I mean, think about the kids that are born today because of artificial intelligence and because of robotics will never have to experience going to work. Do you realize that? The kids that are being born right now, that are coming out of their mother's wombs, will never work a day in their life. Well, Mel, that's going to create a bunch of people who are lazy. No, lazy was a word that was created in Langley with the FBI headquarters, and so was patriots, we like to get paid, and so was conspiracy theory. These are all words that they put out in the ether, and all the dumb fucks out there, they start to regurgitate because you guys are a bunch of parakeets. So easy.
Yeah. So how many people have you had that have watched it so far?
Over 11,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and growing. Yeah. I got a big channel that's got 14 million people. John Chambers, my new producer, who I met, I'll tell you the story. It's a cute story. I get a call out of nowhere because he watched the movie. Find out the guy's, patriot, knows more than I do, and he wants to work, with me in some capacity. I said, hey, I need a producer. Boom, boom. He's down. My guy, Daniel Birch, is my new producer. So he says, hey, can I watch the movie more than once? I said, of course you can watch it. You can watch the movie as many times as you want. Once you buy it, it's $5.89. Some people out there are having trouble, by the way, watching the movie. That's because you live in the middle of the woods in a log cabin. You got like 1/2 meg of internet. If that's the case, you can still watch the movie. Hit the pause button, all right, and let it load. Go to sleep that night. Wake up in the morning, have your breakfast, take your shower, floss your teeth, do whatever it is you do. Wake up and you hit the play button. It should play by then. Okay? That's not my fault that you guys have, dial-up internet still in 2026. Wow. But, so this guy calls me out of nowhere. He goes, can I bring a bunch of people in my living room and watch the movie? Of course you can. Absolutely. So, tens of thousands of people, I'm sure, have watched the movie already because, not one person's going to watch a movie. They'll watch it with a group of people, whatever. So conservatively, 25, 30,000 people have watched the movie already. So, and we're just getting that speed. So we want to keep up the momentum because of the importance of the movie. When people call you up and say, listen, I never understood it up until now. I knew about it. I knew that we were being scammed. I just didn't know how. This movie brings it home. A 2-hour movie brings it home. I think, people spreading it around because $5.89 and free is the same thing as far as I'm concerned. Shit, if you got problems, paying $5.89, you got much bigger fish to fry. You know what I mean? Right? Think about that. But yeah.
So you've had people that have commented on it?
Yeah, we got 5-star reviews coming in like rain, dude. I mean, go read the comments. Go to dearmrpresident.net. Go buy the movie. Read the comments. It's unbelievable. There's about 17 complaints in there. I can't watch the movie. I live in a log cabin in the middle of the woods. Yes, you need higher speed internet. Okay, but other than that, yeah, no, it's tremendous results.
So, dearmrpresident.net.
Yeah,
And there it is. So let's watch a trailer.
Sure.
Wow. And just like I was saying, you know, all those bonds that I was looking at over time, there were, you know, a few million in the beginning as a boy. And then as I went up and became a Navy SEAL, boy, those bonds really skyrocketed. And then on and on and on, kept going up and up and up. And some of them are still, I'm sure, are still out there. Some of them expire, and then they create new ones.
Yes.
So it's, you know, the longer you're on Earth, the more they're making money off of you, and you're not getting any of it.
Any of it, exactly. Any of it. If people would only know the truth, and you know, there are people out there that are big podcasters, friends of mine, that are, you know, 2.5 million people, and they can't wrap their minds around it. They can't. They don't believe that I'm telling the truth. And meanwhile, there's so much evidence out there. It's just not that they can't believe that it's the truth. They just literally block it off. You know what I mean? They don't want to even look at it.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
So I put the link in the chat, dearmrpresident.net. You can go and get it there. Is it on YouTube as well?
No. It's never going to be on YouTube.
Okay. I said YouTube link.
YouTube's gonna have serious problems in the next 12 to 18 months if I have anything to do with it. That's another thing I hate. The fact that they call us patriots. So you mean to tell me that all the people who work for mainstream media who are lying to you, they're allowed to make $4 or $5 million a year, and Michael Jaco's not? Really? If Michael Jaco is one of my soldiers, I want him to be well rested. I want him to be well traveled. I want him to be in first class. I want him to eat tomahawk steaks. I want him to sleep in $1,000 a night hotel rooms with $10,000 mattresses. I want to wake up in the morning ready to freaking take the enemy's head off the shoulders. So we're going to create a platform that's going to get you guys very, very, very comfortable. I know that. And when that platform comes out, we won't give the secret sauce recipe. And the guy or gal who's only got 10,000 subscribers is making $30,000 a month with Mel Carmine. Everybody's going to come running. Everybody's going to come running and say goodbye to censorship of free speech. We're going to restore the republic. We're going to start with Mel Carmine and my platform, and it's coming. It's coming.
Lovely. And you want 50,000 people watching that?
I want 100,000. If I get 100,000, you give us the money. You know what we're gonna do with them? We're not gonna go buy a freaking fancy car and try to pick up chicks. We're beyond that. Okay, we want to take the money, put in the war chest, and go to war with these assholes. They're trying to take over your world, and you got kids, and you're stressed, and you don't know how to do it. Give it to us. We know what to do with it. We'll build the next platforms that people will migrate over, and you'll start to see the YouTubes and the Facebooks just fade away like they never even existed. Simple.
Yep.
Redirect the money. Just redirecting the money. That's all it is.
Oh, they so deserve that after
because your urine, if you let it sit, it has stem cells, and it creates more stem cells like compound interest. The more it sits in the jar, your own pee. Right? Some people do. I know it sounds gross. Some people do enemas with it. Some people drink their own pee. I won't drink my own pee. Mel Carmine, on record, will not drink his own pee. No way, no how. Okay. So you can kiss me on the lips and be assured that there's no urine on my lips. Okay. But you know what I'm saying. So he's an extremist when it comes to this stuff, but he is very healthy. You look at him. He's 60 something years old. He's solid.
Yeah. Hey, you know, there's people that have used it and it's worked, and but not crossing these lips.
Yeah, I don't think Tracy would appreciate that.
No. Yeah, she's let it be known that no, that's not
absolutely no urine in this house. Urine in the bathroom.
But yeah, I you know, there's a lot of people in the Middle East, India, that do that, and it works for them. So
It does.
Power to them, that's great. There's a lot of other things that work really well too.
Yeah, cheap man's stem cells is what they are. That's a poor man's stem cells. Are you headed to Juanito's event on the 15th, 16th, 17th?
Oh yeah,
you'll be there. I'll be there too.
Nice.
Amber will be there, and then we're gonna drive across the desert again.
Wow, you gonna drive there?
No, I'm gonna drive. I'm gonna fly to Vegas, drive across the desert, and flying from Vegas, from LAX back home. Yeah.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, what did you think of the trailer?
I love it. I've seen it 3 times now, and I still like it. It's like brand new.
Yeah.
So we're gonna watch it. I don't know, tonight or tomorrow night or whatever. But
okay,
now that it's out there, it's
definitely out there for sure, and spread it out there. To tell everybody to watch it. We need to build the next platform to destroy these people who think they control the narrative, they control the language, that they own the future. You guys don't own the future. You guys are a joke.
Yes.
And you're going to go away.
I like the way you're thinking.
I
like it. So I speak like that too. I don't want to drag them in the streets and chop them up or hang them and all that bullshit. Blood on the streets. I don't want to do that. I just like to expose them, and their systems collapse. I think that's what we're doing.
I think we're too old for that, Mike. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Yeah, we don't mind getting into a little bar brawl. You know what I mean? But today, maybe you're getting up there in age, and there's other ways to do it. It's called get your lawyers, and if you got billions of dollars, hopefully down the road we all will have billions of dollars with the new reset, and then nobody will be able to F with you, because like Tony Montana says, money's power, and it is. Money's power. If you got, the more money you have, the more power you have.
Yeah,
and that's what they are. They're all drunk on power. They don't know how to handle the money. It's like somebody who just decided to drink heavily, can't handle their booze.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you for having me on, brother. Is there anything else you want to ask me for the audience? I'll be more than happy. If the audience has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions as well.
Yeah, anybody want to throw a question in there, go ahead and throw it in there. But yeah, I don't want to do the vigilante thing, but I'm still good with that. I could make that happen. So
I understand. I get that. But there's something
like for them to know that. And you need to come to your senses and get the hell out before something bad happens to you. So I think
absolutely.
That we're going to see some just the collapse of the system. Some of these cities may be problem areas, but we'll take care of all that.
Sounds good. So are the arrests coming soon, Mike, or what? Are we waiting for? Do I need to get extra popcorn?
Yeah, that's what Juan says. There's like a period of time that we're going through right now, and then on the other side of that, it's like, I think we've already seen some. I think there's already been arrests, but they'll become more public, so that people can see it, because the public has to see that. So Absolutely. There's not that crazy, like we saw after World War II, where Mussolini got and his girlfriend got hung from the town square, and the French that sided with the Germans, they got shot on walls.
If you got 5-6 minutes, I'll tell you a cute story.
Yeah, go for it.
I met some guys down in Miami years ago. Freddie Massaro. Look him up on Google. Freddie Massaro. Massaro. Freddie was part of a crew with the Gambino crime family. The boss was up in Atlanta. He would drive down every week, and Tony Pep. And I don't know why I'm always hanging out with these guys. It's like I'm a magnet for gangsters, right? And but go back in the day, Freddie Massaro was not a gangster. He was working he had a valet concession at the Newport Hotel in Miami, right? And he had a valet parking concession, and he was making good money. And the manager was messing around with him, raised his rent one day, And so he was messing around before that. So he snapped, and Freddie just knocked him out and knocked his teeth out. He gets called into the office. Who's sitting behind the desk in the office? A guy by the name of Meyer Lansky. You can't make this shit up, right? He says, so you're a tough guy. So he proceeds to tell him the story. He goes, good. From now on, he goes, you work for me. He goes, tomorrow, I want you to go to the airport. His first assignment, Freddie Massaro's first assignment. He's proud to tell the story. He's dead now, unfortunately. But he said, go to the airport and pick up Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
Yeah. I got to know him really, really well. I would get invited to his wife. His wife was also Filipino, like my wife. And I would get invited to the birthday parties and all of that. Nice. And one day there was a plaque, a wooden plaque. And I said, Freddie, what's the plaque? He goes, well, Frank Sinatra used to invite me over to the birthday party every year. It was either in Vegas or in Palm Springs, California. And one year they forgot to invite him. So they said, hey, where's Freddie? He goes, oh, shit, we forgot to invite him. He goes, so they turned the invitation that they forgot to mail out into a plaque. And they flew out a private jet to pick him up and bring him to Palm Springs. True story, you know. And Meyer Lansky happens to be represented by my lawyer, who was also dead, by a guy by the name of Russ Costanzo. Russ Costanzo. And Russ Costanzo was friends with a very famous attorney by the name of Roy Black, who recently passed away about a year ago. Roy Black is, infamous criminal attorney. I've had dinner, and you said that you talked about Mussolini. That's what jogged my memory. Mussolini, my lawyer had an actual autographed picture of Mussolini on his 3-story, 2,000 square feet on each floor, so wow. 6,000 square feet. And as we go upstairs to have dinner all the time, he was going a little senile. And there's a picture of Mussolini. He goes, that's a picture of Mussolini. That's an autographed picture made out to me personally. That's a whole my lawyer, right? True story. So Mussolini is actually related with yours truly, Sophia Loren.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So one day when I'm actually coming back from California, I missed that dinner date because I got invited to a lot of dinner dates with Roy Black and Russ and the wife and the elite crew of Miami. Okay. And they love Mel Carmine, and especially Roy. Roy and I hit it off big time. And nice. I came home and I hit the play button. I remember those old cassette players, answering machines, right? And the message was, hey, we're having dinner with Sophia Loren will be here tonight. We hope that you can come over. And I missed it because I was on vacation in California. Imagine. So yeah. That's a pretty cute story.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So there's a question in here. How about the Canadian Social Security number?
Yes, the Canadians are doing it. They have some of their countries got really smart and they created their own variation of it, which is even more scammy than the United States. New Zealand, United Kingdom, I know for sure. Australia, I know for sure as well. There's several countries that are doing this to their citizens, not just the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Good scams are always copied. Don't you know that?
Gotta be.
Yeah, it's one hell of a scam. Let me tell you, they got one hell of a racket going on. Yeah, crazy. People don't realize it. Yeah.
All right, Mel. Thanks for that movie.
Brother, tell them to go to dearmrpresident.net and watch the movie, and tell them to spread it around like confettis.
Absolutely. All right, we'll see you in Vegas. We don't see you
soon.
Got it.
I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Sure. All right, always love having Mel on. It's always got great information. Now, there's from that election that we just had, primary, not really election, but I guess in their area was a election. Several states. We had some pretty key things happen in Kentucky. Of course, we saw Thomas Massey in Kentucky was taken out by former Navy SEAL that I used to work with, Ed Gow Ryan. So I was calling him Rain because we used to call him both, and he wouldn't care because he was that kind of guy. He's like, whatever, guys, whatever you call me. So I would call him Ed. Of course, he's an officer, but in the SEAL teams, we're on first name basis for the most part, unless we're around other groups that are a little bit more highfalutin or whatever, or we're in special situations. Then I would call him Commander. And so I think he retired as a captain. He was pretty way up there. 20 years. He got 4 or 5 awards that were, what is it? You got Silver Star, and then you got the one just below that is anyway. He was well placed, and I was surprised he didn't go on to do admiral, but maybe he just got tired of working in the system. So he moved on, and he went back to the farm because he's a big old farm boy. And so we'd kind of like, we all give each other shit. So we call him like, corn, big old cornbread, because he was like huge. He's a huge guy. And so it was pretty cool to see him be successful. So what I like about this, and what I think everybody needs to take away from this, because a lot of people, are kind of, they thought Massey was supporting them and doing the things that they liked. He was running a front show, guys. And a lot of these guys do that. You see that with Tucker Carlson and some of these other influencers. They've been giving us a front, right? And then behind the scenes have been sabotaging the hell out of us. So Massey was definitely, in my opinion, doing that. So maybe there were some things that he was supporting that you believed in. That's what they do. They come out and they support things that they know that people are going to like. And on the other side of that, they're backstabbing us, right? So he stabbed us on a lot of, things that needed to go forward. And that's why President Trump was super pissed at him. Marjorie Taylor Greene, same thing. She was a big supporter of Massey, and they did stuff together, and then she resigned, and she made $174,000 a year for 5 years. She came into Congress with $700,000, and she left with, now some are saying somewhere between 10 to 25 million. It's like, what in the hell? Right? So they even say that she, if you do the Google search on it, Chat GPT or something like that, it's going to tell you that she acquired a lot of that money through being a congresswoman and getting insider information. And they have the right to do that. Laws for thee, but not for me. That's bullshit, right? So these people have been taking advantage of us for a long time. Massey was one of them. And now we have a Navy SEAL, a quiet spoken warrior that is now should be hopefully within November, in a position where he can overcome a lot of the crap that's been going on from these rhinos, Republican in name only. All right, so we need to see that. We see a lot of people that are subverting us in a lot of different areas. So we need quality, merit-based, like Ed Galbraith, to move up and take those positions and move forward. Now, I could even see Ed going all the way to the top guys. He's got that capability because he's a true focused warrior, and he's the kind of guy that gets the job done. I was in combat action with him at SEAL Team 6, which is the highest level that you can achieve in the SEAL teams, Delta equivalent. And we were in combat in Panama. So he performed exceptionally well. And then he was, when I left my last command, SEAL Team 4, he was begging me not to leave. Right? He's constantly begging me not to leave. And I was like, it's time for me to move on. And so I left, but he was a great leader. He was a great leader at SEAL Team 4, the last command that I was at. I really appreciated, the work that he did. He was one of those few officers that, I think really did a good job throughout. And he's probably going to do an exceptional job in Kentucky. And who knows, maybe even go further, maybe even go higher if he proves himself. But he's going to be in a den of snakes. And these are the most corrupt people that have come together in our political system. I think 95 or maybe even more % of our politicians need to go away. And some of them probably need to go to prison, and some of them probably need to be executed for treason, right? And maybe not some of them, maybe a lot of them. All right, so like this shitbag right here, Brad Raffensperger in Georgia. No one likes the guy. He barely got any votes. So we're going to continue to see real voting and real merit-based people go forward. So President Trump has, supported a lot of different people. They're probably going to go forward. We're going to see Tuberville in Alabama. I think he's going to go all the way to governor. So President Trump has always, supported him. Alabama. He unseated Jones. Tuberville unseated Jones. Doug Jones, former Alabama senator. And probably, because he's such a badass, probably Doug Jones is going to come back and take that seat. So I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe Barry Moore, who I think President Trump is supporting now. So there's going to be a lot of, merit-based people, I believe, that are going to move up and do really well. Pennsylvania, we'll probably see a Republican. I said the last election, maybe a couple elections ago, I don't know, where they had, a governorship and, runoff in Pennsylvania. I said that it was going to be taken by a Republican, and it wasn't. And people had asked me about this one guy. He says, "You think he's going to run?" I said, "Yeah, he's going to run, and he's going to win." I believe he won, and they stole it from him. So we're probably going to find out a lot of that, going forward. 2020, it's not over yet. It's going to be not just for the election steal for Trump, but also for everybody that's having, hopefully it's no more having, had an election stolen from them. Yep. Tara Jones, you would know of everyone because you were very much involved in the politics there during that time frame. So Tara Jones, he's a rat. Yep. He's a dirty, rotten rat. He's a nasty, dirty, rotten rat. All right. So Rattensberger. So we're calling them out, guys, and now it's starting to stick. We're some of these people you still don't understand because you're, like I said, you're, I don't know. It's like where they go, ooh, it's like you're mesmerized. You've been mesmerized by, the bullshit they've been feeding you. And then they get in those positions and then they're backstabbing us. I just had a gentleman on my show from Texas that's telling me about everybody said there's a red wave. Everybody's so happy in red wave in Texas in the last election, but most of them were rhinos. And they got in there and, some people were saying, no, they're bullshit. They're bullshit. And they got elected and then they got in those positions and they started, voting the wrong way. If you look at Massey, there's a Democrat that's the governor there and he's all sad. He's sad that Massey lost. Yeah, of course he is. Because he was like helping your party, advance and stay in power. So, guys, you just got to look a little bit deeper, and you're going to find some of these people are extremely bad, right? And Candace Owens, another one. Candace Owens was on. I've seen her, talk for a long time. I was like very skeptical of her for a long time. and she's proving herself to be not worthy of our the fame that we gave her, the attention that we gave her. She's exposed as well. All right, and we're going to see more and more. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Alex Jones. The list is going to continue to grow, and it's very, very frustrating. That's right, Tron Master. Uniparty. They're a uniparty. We say rhinos, but most of the GOP is a bunch of rhinos anyway, and just a few of them will give us a facade, and it's like, oh, they're good. It's like Fox News. Remember when I remember when CNN first came out, and I remember doing the Panama invasion, and we would be glued to the TV watching CNN because CNN's reporting, Central Intelligence. But of course, we're working with the CIA, SEAL Team 6, and they're giving us missions and so forth, which some of them were stupid and sucked. But for the most part, we were watching CNN. And then for years afterwards, in the team rooms at SEAL Team 6, in the commander's office, in the intelligence department, they had CNN running because it used to be good. And then it wasn't. And then the TV started getting turned off, or they started going to Fox News. So we went with Fox News. And then in the last couple elections with Trump, we were like, Fox News, nope. And then the last election, definitely, where they were calling races the moment they were over, like in Arizona and some of the other places. California, of course, it's always been corrupt. And they call the races for themselves all the time. But we all saw that Fox News was corrupt. So it's a vibrational frequency information. What I'm talking about and what you're listening to and what you observe and what you follow and so forth, it's all vibrational frequency. So I would be eventually I would watch. I'd be at the gym and I'd be working out and I'd move to another piece of equipment and I'm working out. I think it's on Fox News, and I'm like, why does this news suck so bad? And then it would be like CNN, and I'm like, oh, okay. I was overseas, and a lot of when terrorists were doing attacks in the Middle East and so forth, and CNN was the only one that they would show, because CNN was basically on a communist news network. So in the Middle East, they're basically all communist, right? So they would not allow Fox News. So it was very frustrating. So I just stopped watching news. I would watch BBC or something like that, which was not any better, but a little bit better because it's world news, I guess. But even that I started to see as corrupt. So I stopped watching CNN, stopped watching the BBC, The Economist, all these different magazines and news channels that I used to watch. Drudge Report, used to always go to Drudge Report for online information. That's shit now. What happened to conservative news? Conservative news was the thing, and then it, like human consciousness, we start getting lazy and we start depending on. This is a pattern throughout history. We start getting lazy and we start depending on the government to take care of us. It's just human nature. Unfortunate. I've never been of that mindset, but most people are. This way we normally evolve, and then there's people like me and there's most of you that push back. That's like, oh no, we're not going to put up with this bullshit anymore. You guys are pushing us into a dystopian, society where everything is controlled and manipulated by the government, German government. We're not going to allow it. We constantly start pushing back. I was overseas my whole career, 35 years, fighting to keep America free, and then I come back. And I find out that we've been infiltrated and the enemy's within. And it's worse than anything else that I was fighting out there, guys. Although a lot of you are like, well, why aren't we like, bombing them? There's other ways that wars are being fought right now. And this information that we're sharing is the most valuable thing that we have right now, because we can expose them and collapse their system. We've been doing that. So the more that we expose them, the less kinetic, the less physical we have to be with them. All right. So we want to get it to the point where there's very little kinetic activity. All right. Very little. I don't feel that we're going to completely get away with not having kinetic activity here in America, but maybe, but we'll see. So continuing to reveal, that's what we did with Massey. More money was pumped into that race than any congressional race in U.S. history, right? And I think the good side won. But, other people are going to have their opinions and so forth. But for me, it's very obvious. I see things a lot sooner than others. 444 here right now. So the Angels are like, yes. And it's Epoch Times is good. Yeah, I agree. I go to that. I'm subscribed to that. Lifetime, actually. I have a lifetime membership of Epoch. So that's really good. Now, occasionally I watch Fox News, but not for long, because same thing, frequency rise, it's not good. So I'll just go on. If there's some kind of monumental event, then I'll usually I go to the internet, right? But I don't do any news channels. Rarely do news channels these days, right? And the only one that I do, if I do one, is still Fox News, but I have to be very, very selective of what I pay attention to on Fox News, right? So it's a mess out there, and we're cleaning it up. It is happening. We just saw this, but I think the election in November will be a major monumental event. So I think it will be Fox equals 666, Trimester. So yeah, pretty much. So Mary Ellen Johnson, yourself, I don't think his congressional counterpart will be getting on her knees anymore for Massey. How about that? Yeah. Whoa, Mary Ellen. Ooh. So yeah, tell it. All right. So so Katie Lee, God first. Spell that out for me. All right. So sound that out for me. And so that's going to be the way most people are. I don't watch news. All right. So most of us don't watch news. And there's definitely a problem with the news right now. Katie God first. So God first. We'll call you God first. Just spell it out for me. Sound it out. Katelia. Is it Kate Talia? Katie's asking. Catelia. All right. It's Spanish name. Okay. Catelia. All right. So Catelia. Yep. God first. I know you've been making a lot of comments. I appreciate your comments. They're really good. So thank you. All right. So I got the doorbell going on. So hopefully the wifey is going to run up and get that. Yeah, I think I hear her running. So, all right. So I think we got it. We have the, just make sure it's not, I don't have to go get my gun. So never know. All right. So I got them everywhere. Right, knives, everything. I don't need knives. I don't need guns. But if it's a little bit of distance, I'd like to close that gap a lot faster. All right, so yeah, I think that we're gonna continue to expose them and destroy them. They're looking at our roof. It has to be inspected. It's not my roof, but soon I will have my own roof. I will be buying something very good. All right, hysterical. All right, yeah. All right, yeah. Tron, love the numbers, absolutely. Fox 666. And I think that what we see in the future is going to be a lot different from what we're having right now. Now, Shapiro versus Trump-backed Garrity set for high stakes in Pennsylvania governor showdown. Neither face opposition in Tuesday's primary, as both prepare for November face-off in the battleground state. Man, I don't think Democrats are going to really win too much at all in the coming elections, because I think that we're exposing them to the point where they can no longer have any traction. I'm surprised that people still vote for Democrats. At some point, the Democrat Party will be completely gone. Right? There's no way that it can continue to exist. It's going to go away like the Whig Party went away. So it will be definitely, and it should have gone away a long time ago. Should have gone away after the World War or Civil War. But somehow they maintained, and then they got strong again. And it's very suspect to me that London, the city of London, supported the South, right? And then we had President Lincoln was assassinated soon after the war, because they obviously weren't going to win because they'd already lost. So they basically assassinated President Lincoln. And that assassination is extremely suspect. So I think it's been mostly conservatives that have been assassinated, although Kennedy, being a Democrat, he's probably one of the most conservative Democrats ever. I don't know. But, they killed him too. So we've had 3 attempts on President Trump from the radical left. The radical left is now the party of, if you don't agree with me, I'm going to kill you, right? So that doesn't work. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, that's a great show, yeah. Good one, Mark. So I think that we'll see this be exposed. And then when Lincoln was assassinated, we saw the re-establishment of the Democrat Party. They should have been completely obliterated, should have been completely kicked out, and a new party started, but they're still here, and they're trying to start another civil war. So they are trying to start another friggin' civil war. It's crazy. So they have to go away, guys, right? We can't allow them to stay, right? And I know they're like, well, my parents, my relatives, blah, blah, or Democrats is like, well, if there's no more Democrats that are in office and they still want to be Democrats, there were a lot of Nazis when the Nazis were defeated. There were a lot of Nazis who just took all their paraphernalia and went underground with it. Scott Ritter talked about how when he was a kid, he went and he was playing with one of his buddies in Germany, and of course West Germany, and so his friend took him downstairs into the basement, and there was like all this Nazi paraphernalia down in the basement, and the dad came down and kicked him out, and he could never go down there again. So it'll be like that for Democrats. They'll probably still have their paraphernalia for generations later, but they can never come back. It can never come back, guys. Once it's gone for good, and it will be obliterated, going forward. So it's proven itself over and over again to be the party of fraud and desolation. You look at all the cities that the Democrats run, and they're all shitbag holes, right? So it's like that should be obvious enough right there that they're frauding and destroying, but there has to be pain. I predict pain, right? So, and that's what a lot of people have said. It's Scott Ritter's out there. I subscribe to him. He does. He's a Trump insights. He's a warrior, and he does battlefield assessments for Ukraine, Russia war, and he's talking about Iran and so forth. So he's got great insights. So I don't know if he turned Democrat or what happened, but he can. He wants everything. No pain, no gain. That's right. That's a good point. So I guess the Democrats have to have a lot of pain. I predict pain and lots of pain for the Democrats until they see the evil of their ways and finally, break free from that horrific party. But again, both parties need to go away. Republican Party is like uniparty. Lots of rhinos have cesspooled it, right? Swamped it, right? Drained that swamp, and you're gonna well, there'll be a lot of Republicans left. No, probably won't be hardly any, right? And some of the ones that, McGregor also took a left turn as well. It's crazy, right? He used to work for Trump, right? He was in Trump administration in the last go around. So it's interesting to see, where people go in their, their views and ideals and ideas and so forth, the way things should be. For me, it's always been very, very cut and dry. I've been conservative, and I've been for America to the point where I basically put my life on the line for most of my life, right? 35 years. So that's more. I've done that more than I've been alive, right? So I'm 65. So 35 years I was military, CIA. And quite frankly, my life has been more at threat since I left the military and CIA. Several times I've been almost killed by the deep state. So I was better off in the military and the CIA than I am now, giving out information and telling everybody. So I just did this great show, and basically what we were talking about was that we're pretty much focused on the Republicans because the Democrats are so beyond stupid and so beyond effed up that there's no reason to focus on them. So I had this guy on. It's called Dr. McKinsey. So Dr. McKinsey, great show, highly recommend it. So he blew it up. He blew it up, and he's a Texan, and it was amazing what he was talking about. Vibrator, yeah. Did you hear that vibration noise? That's there on the roof, like drilling. So, yeah. Or are you talking about something else, Ridge Runner? I don't know. All right. Yeah, I do have God's armor, but I do get impacted sometimes. Yeah, Texans know how to get her done, and don't mess with Texas. But boy, they have. Right? They have really effed with Texas. It used to be, you mess with Texas, you die, or, yeah, Your Honor, I killed them because they needed killing, and okay then. Right? So that's the way it used to be in Texas, and the rest of the United States were like, damn, Texas is strong. I'm glad we're with Texas, the Republic of Texas, right? They have slowly crept in there and effed Texas up, guys. And you Texans know you're very frustrated, like I am. I don't like to see anyone, impacted anywhere in America, and because I fought for America for my whole life, pretty much. So I'm very passionate about that, and I see the corruption. Democrat Party is by far the most corrupt of the two parties. It destroys cities. That's obvious. You don't have to look far. It's every major city that's been, under Democrat rule. For most of the major cities in America have been under Democrat rule for like decades and decades and decades, right? So because they have all those people in those big cities, and then you have those of us in the countryside, land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside. Dun, 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 dun. So it is, most of America is red. Most counties in America are red. But you have very tight conglomeration of people in those blue cities where they give them everything, right? They give them everything. And at some point, when the city folk, not the city folk, but the country folk are like, I ain't giving you guys any more of my money. You're not going to take any more of my taxes. You're not going to like take no more, because we're getting close to that where the property taxes are about ready to go, guys. So all these bonds that, you know, fund this illicit activity and fraud and so forth are about ready to dry up. Whether, you know, we expose the fraud and stop the fraud, or whether it just gets to the point where there's no one else left to pay it. They have to seize everybody's homes because it's getting to that point. It's so incredibly fraudulent, and the rates are going up so fast that people just won't be able to pay them. And that's happening now. The foreclosure rate is at a level that we haven't seen since 2008. And we're just getting started. That foreclosure rate was frozen during the Biden administration. During the Trump administration, they unfroze it like it's supposed to be. And now it's really starting to pick up speed. So in the last, in the last two major downturns, and I'm not going all the way back to 1929, but in the 70s and then in 2000, those were big run-ups as well in oil. So we're seeing a big run-up in oil once again, and I think we're seeing the top. I think we're going to see 150, 200 plus dollar barrels of oil, guys, before it's all said and done. When you look at the charts, it's basically moving that direction. It basically broke a pattern, and now it's getting ready to go to the moon. And when it goes to the moon, that inflation goes up. When inflation goes up, and when oil goes up, what happens to silver and gold? Silver and gold, they go up bigly, bigger than they've ever been before. So when the last, when you look at 2000 and the 70s stock market crashes, those are stock market crashes, and you had oil going up, right? And gold and silver went crazy. All right. So now you're seeing gold and silver go to levels we've never seen before, ever. And it was like around $50 was the level. We had 100 and 21. We're almost we more than doubled it, almost tripled the old pattern, and we're just getting started. Because when this stock market does go down, it's not going to go down just because stocks are overvalued, like we saw in the 2000 boom, and the NASDAQ is AI stocks are like going crazy, just like in 2000, way overvalued. I said this would happen. We haven't seen the top yet, so we're going to see pullback. Everybody's going to be, and I as well. I will question whether this is where it's going to turn down. But I think we're going to keep getting surprised. It's going to keep going higher and higher and higher. A little bit of pullback. It shouldn't get a big pullback, but it's going to get a little bit of pullback, and everybody's going to jump in like they did during 2000. Every pullback was a buying opportunity, and that's worked for everybody over the last, I think almost a decade, right? So maybe even longer. So people are going to keep buying that pullback, and what do you think is going to happen eventually? Eventually, that pullback is going to keep going the other way. And people are going to be like, it's always paid off to do buy the pullback, so they'll keep buying, and they'll keep putting their money to work, and eventually they're going to get slaughtered. Right? Pigs get slaughtered, and we're going to have a lot of piglets that are going to be slaughtered in this next downturn, because it always happens. It always happens. It's the way. It's the same thing in consciousness. It always happens. So now, the thing that's pushing it down, remember in 2008 when we had the Great Recession, it should have been a depression, but Great Recession, it was about housing. So we've had one of the biggest crashes in commercial real estate already, and that's not letting up. And now we're moving into residential homes, which are crashing all over the country now and picking up speed in some areas, and will continue to go down 80%, just like they've done in the past. All right. And maybe more, because this one's going to be not only the housing crash, but also the stock market crash and the bonds are going to crash. You have a trifecta that's coming, that's working against us. It's going to be the biggest downturn ever, right? So what is going to happen to, do I smell bacon? Very good, Mary Ellen. Yes. And it's normally bacon smells good, but this is not going to smell so good. All right. It's going to be, anyway, human piggies. All right. So we don't want any of that. All right. So that's going to be quite nasty. We'll see massive pullback, and will it all pull back at once? No, it never pulls back all at once. It's gradual, and you'll see bounces. You'll see it just like crash like crazy, like it did in 2003. 2003, it should have kept going, but it bounced, and I was like, it's gonna turn around, because there's nothing to keep it up. But what they were doing, they were basically dumping money, just like they did in 2000, in 2001. So they dumped money into the system, paper money, worthless paper money, and basically, 2008 recession, also known as the Great Recession, was a severe global economic downturn that lasted from December 2007 to June 2009, primarily triggered the collapse of U.S. housing market. So this one will be, like I said, a trifecta where everything will go down, and we'll keep going down, and everything but silver and gold, because it always goes up during these downturns. So are we in the beginning stages of it? Absolutely. And as time goes on, it will become very obvious. But in the beginning, people will be like, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And they're going to get slaughtered. All right. And instead of buying the dip, they should be, cutting their losses. And now that, you remember what Mike said about getting in silver and gold, now would be a good time to do that. But they won't. They'll continue to buy more stock as it goes down, and they'll get slaughtered. All right. Same thing, human nature. Or they'll hold their assets instead of, getting rid of their assets that are incredibly underperforming, right? And putting them into something that could, turn that around and actually make them profitable, which they would be able to do if they put it into silver as they're getting slaughtered, but they won't. It's not the thing that happens. So yeah, it'll be quite crazy. In the meantime, I think this continues all the way up into November because of the election, and maybe even into the new year, December. Usually you get that Santa Claus, rally. And so that might be the thing that happens. And I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it just keeps on going. Has anyone heard about mobile contacting to Starlink? You mean like your cell phone? Yeah, you can. If you have a Starlink account, you can use your mobile phone, of course. Any internet. So I thought it was demons speaking. There's the stream. I don't know. All right. So other things that are going on. We have Trump that's backing the Attorney General of Texas. So Kent Paxton. So Kent Paxton, I think, is going to do the right thing. Has he always done the right thing? No. But I think he's the best man for the job. So we'll see, right? And if he doesn't prove to be the best man for a job, then, of course, like all the other ones that don't do a good job, they should be fired as well. Like Trump is very good at that. All right, so let's look at what the Democrats go by. They go by Saul Alinsky. All right, Saul Alinsky basically had a doctrine, 8 steps to topple a nation. Hillary Clinton, I guess, did her master's thesis on this book. So here's the 8 steps has been done. And property, I mean, look at all the people in the streets these days. It's pathetic. I remember being a kid, that was very, very, very rare to see somebody in the streets. Debt, increase the debt to an unsustainable level. That way you're able to increase taxes, and this will produce more poverty. So you see who really fights, doing away with taxes? Democrats, right? So again, they basically run Saul Alinsky's, 8 ways to, destroy a country. Gun control, of course, they've been trying to remove our guns. They did a pretty good job in Canada, and they've also done a pretty good job in California and I believe New York. But for the greater part, most Americans have kept their guns, which is basically going to be our saving grace going forward. Welfare, take control of every aspect of their lives, food, housing, and income. And that's why we're seeing why they're raising all the mortgage rates are going up. We're seeing property taxes going up. We're seeing the insurance going up because it's basically tied to the mortgage rate or the property tax assessments. So they come in and keep assessing the properties higher and higher and higher, which is beyond stupid to me. So let's say, for instance, you buy your house at $100,000. You did that, 30 years ago, $100,000. And so the home next to you sells for $500,000. So they assess that your property now is $500,000. You haven't sold your home. Let's say that there's another crisis where property values collapse again, all the way back down to $100,000, but you're paying for years and years and years for property taxes that are accelerating. That's stupid beyond belief. And I think that if you paid for your home, let's say you've pay your mortgage 30 years, you're a senior, you're getting $900 a month in Social Security, and that's what you're living off of. You paid off your home, and they keep raising your taxes. They keep raising everything. Well, fortunately, Social Security is not taxed anymore. Thank you, President Trump. But they keep raising your property taxes. They keep raising your insurance. And if you don't pay it, they'll come and seize your home. It's insane. It's insane. And it's constantly going up. Now, when you bought your home 30 years ago, it was worth a certain amount, which is probably a lot less than what it is now. And now you're having to pay higher property taxes. Why? Now, they say it's for the kids. It's for the kids. Well, at that point in your life, you've raised your kids. Yes, you paid into the system, and you raised your kids, and you probably paid even longer into the system. So if your home if your home is free and clear, you should not have to pay anymore. You should not have to pay property taxes, period, but definitely, at least let's start there. If you paid your home and it's paid off, you should no longer pay property taxes. All right, let's at least get it to that point, and then start to bust it down from there to where it's no more. We should really just bust it down completely. It shouldn't be there for anybody. But at least let's start to pick this thing apart. All right, so by doing that, seizing homes and everything, they're controlling housing. All right, they're controlling your income. In California, or some places in California, they're going to raise the minimum income. I think in some places like to $30 or something. I think I saw that somewhere in some city, and they're like, well, let's kind of wait. It's like, duh. It's like you're going to drive every business that's left out. So education, take control of what people read and listen. Take control of what children learn in school. Educate them to think that it's okay for them to be taxed, for illegal aliens to come in and take their jobs and get paid more, to live in a luxury hotel and get like thousands of dollars a month, where the senior is getting $900 a month. It's ridiculous. It's bullshit. So religion, remove the belief in God from the government and schools. I remember it wasn't long in my young little life. I remember in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, we prayed every morning before class, and we said the Pledge of Allegiance. I remember the teacher would hold the flag in front of us. We put our hands over our heart and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Then we bow our heads and say a prayer. I thought it was great. And then they just phase it out, right? So they're basically, phasing it out. You can't talk about God anymore. You can't, there's none of that. They're squeezing it out, and they, in Congress, Democrats again, we're bringing in Satanists into Congress and showing them around. It's like, what the hell? Okay. So class warfare, divide the people into the wealthy and the poor. This will cause more discontent, and it will be easier to tax the wealthy from the support of the poor, with the support of the poor. So the poor are like, they've been, doing this for years, where, okay, let's tax the billionaires and we'll lower the amount of the debt. No, you can take all of the money from the billionaires, and it still wouldn't pay down all of the debt, the trillions and trillions, $30 trillion of debt, whatever it is right now. It still wouldn't pay it. All right. So that's always been a bullshit, class against class. The people that are creative and build businesses and employ people, you want to like destroy their lives? Really? Yeah. The communists, the Democrats want to do that. Absolutely do. Because they're basically most billionaires are self-made. Give me an effing break. That's right, Mary Ellen. So, duh. I built whatever little wealth that I had, as a Navy SEAL, and then as a CIA contractor, risking my life for our country. And they came in and basically destroyed my life and stole all of my money, all of my wealth that I built. And so what do? We just went off grid and rebuilt, and we've come back. We're stronger than ever. So we don't have debt. And really the reason why we don't have debt is because I couldn't get a loan for anything. So I had to pay everything in cash. That actually works out good. I highly recommend it. All right. So Massey isn't a rhino. Okay, whatever. He went against Israel. So yeah, there's still going to be people that have their ideas. He went against Israel, and why is that even a thing? Why would we want to go against? Okay, Massey's good because he went against Israel. That doesn't make sense, right? And that's what a lot of the extreme left are pushing. All the Democrats are like, you look at Mamdani for, I don't know, 150 years, whatever. They've had like a parade in New York, to celebrate Israel or whatever, or Israelis or Jews or whatever. I don't know, but it's a celebration. They've always done it. So Mamdani, extreme Democrat, leftist, and so you support Massey, who basically was, against Israel? That sounds very leftist to me, right? So hello, wake up there. So so Mamdani is not going to show up for that parade. The first time in history that a mayor of New York is not going to be there for the Jewish celebration parade. So we're going to continue to see, people that still support obvious problem people. Like I said, Massey was one of them. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who still supports Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Running off, like I said, with 10 to $25 million. And when she first came into Congress, she had $700,000 to her name, and she was a big Trump supporter, MAGA, everything. And then she aligned with Massey and started saying, "No, we're not going to support Israel." Right? Okay. All right. So, and now Marjorie Taylor Greene has sold her house, basically left Congress early, left us hanging because we need those GOP numbers. And so she left us hanging one. And she went to Costa Rica. Boy, sounds like you really support America, right? And you made the money off of Congress, insider trading, took the money and ran and said, F you to America, pretty much. And who knows what she was involved in? How did she make that money? Who gave her those insider trading, or what she outright paid? Because there's a lot of stuff possibly is going to come out from Maduro, and I think they seize a lot of information. And if she's one of them, we're going to go hunt her down and bring her back and probably try her for treason, guys. So will Massey also be one of them that's going to get tried for treason? Possibly. So go ahead and support him. We'll see. We'll see who wins on this. All right, guys. Let me see what else I got. All right. So 3 super tankers carrying 6 million barrels of oil exit the Strait of Hormuz. Now, where were they bound? And why were they let to run through there when everything's been shut down for months? So for the last 2 months, these ships, these very large crude carriers, are now heading to Asian refining hubs. Where was President Trump at just recently? China. All right. Interesting. And now we have like these 3, and China needs oil. They don't make their own oil. They depend on, other areas, and then we're getting it for very, very cheap from Iran and Venezuela. Now they're not. So the first was Universal Winner, South Korean flag supertanker, carried 2 million barrels of Kuwaiti crude oil. Second was Wangu Yang, a Chinese flag vessel hauling 2 million barrels of Iraqi Basra. And I spent a lot of time in Basra. Was almost killed there a few times, right? Basra crude. And what's interesting about that is I think that the Iraqi dinar is gonna eventually go big, right? So I have millions of Iraqi dinar that I've had for quite some time. I think it'll go probably at least 1 to 1 here pretty soon, and maybe a lot more. So we're going to see this around the world, where the manipulation of currencies and monies and gold and silver and all that kind of stuff is going to fall away. And some of you guys are going to be very happy. I'm going to be pretty happy. Finally, there was Ocean Lily, a Hong Kong flag tanker loaded with 2 million barrels, split evenly between Qatari and Iraqi Basra crude, right? So they let 3 out, and tomorrow they're saying there's going to be more. So what's going on? State-owned Shipping Corporation of India is ready to go back into the Persian Gulf once it has approval from the Indian Navy and it has business from oil refiners. So are things coming unwound for Iran? Maybe it's just a pause and a bigger play. So it's interesting to see these games being played. And of course, along these lines so how many of you understand and believe that we need to be doing this in Iran and eventually in Cuba and like we did in Venezuela? How many understand and believe that that is basically taking down the deep state? So I don't see any hands raised, but I think there's some out there. So I think a lot of you guys understand, but I don't think a lot of people do, right? And when you look at these people that, I don't know, maybe some people supported before, but now you shouldn't be, right? And they lost. And now they're going against Trump even more. All right, Senate advances measure to withdraw U.S. involvement in Iran conflict with vengeful Rhino Bill Cassidy, who lost because President Trump supported his opponent, and his opponent won, and now he's no longer going to be in the Senate. Bye-bye, Rhino boy, and good riddance. And if we got some dirt on you, I hope you go to prison and you get the full extent of the law that's coming to you. All right, so he voted to basically, make President Trump get out of Iraq. Well, so the Senate, they had three people that would have voted for it. So the lawmakers approved the resolution by 50 to 47 vote. So they slid it in while three senators, Republicans, were out. And of course, we had the Rhino, Rand Paul, and Susan Collins, and Lisa Murkowski also voted for the resolution. Only one Democrat, John Fetterman from Pennsylvania. Remember, Dr. Oz lost to him, and I was like, God, are you kidding me? This guy's brain dead, but he's been voting for, the good guys. So however that turned out, it turned out pretty good. And Oz is working inside the President Trump's administration, doing a really good job. So three Republicans, Senator John Cornyn of Texas, Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina, and Tommy Tuberville of Alabama were absent. So they waited. It was a setup. They waited till those guys were going to be absent, and then they slid it through real quick, like the little snakes they are, right? So Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer reacted immediately. Republicans are starting to crack, and momentum is building to check him, he said in a statement after the vote, referring to Trump. We are not letting up. We? You mean we and your Rhino partners? Yeah. All right. Cassidy announced his changed position in an X post before the vote because he wasn't for that before. And now that he's been called out and he's been, everybody's can see that he's a bad boy. He's a Rhino boy. Now he's going to super vote, against the Trump administration, which he was doing silently in the past. So that's why he's going away, guys. All right. Same with Massey. You guys can come in and say keep supporting Massey, whatever. Calm down, take a deep breath, and start to do a little observation skills and critical thinking. You're going to find out that he was a bad boy, right? Just like, and he'll probably resign or something and go to, I don't know, somewhere else. But, he's in his favor, and maybe that's probably to deflect, and maybe we'll find the money in his bank account anyway. But it looks like he was of all of the senators, he was not getting investing and making money illegally, all right, in insider trading, because he's at the bottom of the list. But I'm not easily swayed. I still have critical thinking, and I look at things, and he's a bad boy, right? If you still want to believe he's good, that's up to you. It's fine, right? Not really fine, but it is what it is, right? We wait for you to awaken, and then you can come back and say, yeah, you were right, I'm sorry. But that's never going to happen. All right, so Cassie's challenger, Representative Julia Letlow, Republican of Louisiana, left Cassidy defiant upon his return to Washington. So Letlow won more than 44.8% of the vote, while Louisiana Treasurer John Fleming received 28 and Cassidy received 24. So he was all the way down to the bottom, right? So people didn't like him. They saw through him. But, there's those of you, there was a time when people liked Massey. He was doing supposedly the right thing at one time. And then somebody pulled his chain and he started voting against Trump. He was all good while the Democrats were in there. And then we got a real hardcore, God-loving, God-perfect person in power. And then his demonic side, just came out. And so you guys are basically supporting a demonic mofo. So I hope that spins you up, and maybe you just blow up. You won't be able to exist in this frequency anymore. Maybe it'll help you just blow up, right? So, bye-bye. All right. So yes, I'm a warrior, and I don't put up bullshit, right? So I'm going to get to a point where I'm not going to like you guys still supporting Massey. There's enough information out there where you can do your critical thinking research and see that he was a bad boy, right? So if not, that means you're for the dark side, my opinion, right? We're just going to call it. All right, so future proves past. Q. Yes, absolutely. We can only hope, Michael, that these people wake up. Yes, so I put those words in there. These people wake up. Proud of Louisiana for voting Cassidy out. Yay, good job, Louisiana. All right, so boomba. It's a big boom, all right? So booms are happening all over the place, guys. Politically, we're winning. I like winning. I know some of you, MJ can't fix stupid. That's right, Georgia girl. So, I don't get tired of winning, right? I can win every single time, right? And I won't get tired of it. I'm just a winner, right? Are you guys winners? Are you supporting Massey? He's a loser, right? So, maybe supported him, but why did he not win, guys? So a lot of you want to go, well, they just dumped all that money in there. Well, Democrats have dumped all kinds of money, way more than Republicans in a lot of these contests, and they have lost, right? You look at Hillary Clinton, she dumped like $1 billion to defeat Trump. And I don't know, I think he had like half that or less, and he won. So evil does not always win, all right? So as we can see with Massey just lost, okay? I'm going to push that button and keep pushing it. Some of you are going to like it, but, just go do your research and come back and keep following, or hate me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I'm protected, right? All right, guys. Love you guys, and all you haters, love you guys too. All right, and we'll see you guys next time. Stay in that love vibration. Makes a difference.